Good evening, Ravens flock. How is everyone doing tonight? I hope we are all doing fine. As you can see by the thumbnail, we have a very special guest with us tonight in the building to talk all things Baltimore Ravens, and I couldn't be happier to have him here. It's been a while, but he's back. Let's get it. You know why you're here. Let's talk Ravens with Yolanda. Let's go. A healthy balance at every position. If they brought in Derrick Henry, because the Ravens aren't serious. Just to cost us make or break season, off season. Good evening again. Welcome into the show. Thank you all so much for joining us tonight. We have a great show lined up not because I'm talking and because I'm here, but because our special guest is with us. I don't even know if I can call him a special guest, but he is a special guest, but he's one that I'm sure all of you know who he is, or majority of you who know who he is. No stranger to these real and digital streets, here to talk Baltimore Ravens and give his perspective on the offseason, first week of training camp, and what we can expect moving into the second week of training camp. A couple of housekeeping. I will plan to bring guests on at random. And the only thing that I ask is that you be respectful of any guest that comes on this show. Reasonable minds can differ, and that's okay. If you agree with the guest or if you agree with me, great. But if you don't, the only thing I ask is that you be respectful. Even if you disagree, that's fine. But just please keep it 100, be nice, be respectful, and that's all I ask. All right, with that, let's bring our guest on the show. That's him. Everybody knows him.
I'm looking for the special guest right here.
The special guest, Hendo. I should do a round of applause. Welcome, Hendo, into the show. Good evening. How are you doing tonight?
I'm chilling. What's good?
Doing just fine. Thank you so much for being here tonight. I appreciate it. It's been a while since you've been on the channel, and I am here to say thank you for coming, and I welcome you back. Can't wait to see you back on the Rogue Pod. And I believe you released a video not too long ago. Is that right? On your channel?
Yeah, a couple hours ago.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, before we dive into tonight's topics, I want to say hello to everyone who has already joined us in the chat. I'm going to try to keep up with the comments tonight. So if I miss yours, I am sorry. Charge it to my head and not my heart. See, when Hendo comes, we get a bunch of comments. This is all for you, Hendo. See how much the people absolutely love you.
It's people looking for content on a Sunday evening. That's what it is.
No, it's them actually really coming out to see you. So we have Brandon Bazel first. Good evening to you, Brandon. I hope you're doing just fine. Good evening. We have Big Reg, host of Big Boy Talk. Good evening, Big Reg. Glad you're here. Thank you for joining. Osmond, hello, welcome. Thank you for coming in. Look at this, Darius. He's saying, "What up, Hendo? How's it going? What's going on?" We have Tanja with us tonight. Tanja, good evening to you. Thank you for joining. Ramey, Team Ramey, thank you for being here. Salute to you. Lady Laura Baltimore, thank you for joining us tonight. Good evening. Thank you, Darius. Good evening. Hope you're doing just fine. We've got Chris White in the building with us tonight. Good evening, Chris. Good to see you. Glad you're here. We also have Aaron Butler. Good to see you. Thank you. Yep, that's right. He's here for Baltimore Ravens all day. every day. That's what we're going to do. We're going to talk our Ravens. That's right. We have Alicia Thomas with us tonight. Alicia, thank you for joining. If those of
Thanks.
you who are in the chat, give a warm welcome to Alicia for joining. Thank you for being here, Alicia. I appreciate it. We're going to talk about these here Baltimore Ravens, and we're excited about it. I think we have a pretty good squad this year, so we're gonna talk about it. Jasmine, good evening. That is Hendo's, as he calls her, his baby
My baby
girl.
girl. It's my baby girl. It's my
That's
firstborn.
that's right. Thank you for being here, Jasmine. Good evening. Tanja says she knew it was Hendo. She knew it. She knew it.
Yes,
That's right.
I'm the guinea pig. Yes, everybody knows. Experiment on me.
No, it's not experiment. We're just here to have a good conversation, good dialogue, and talk about the
So,
state
chef.
of our Baltimore Ravens. Chef, good evening to you. We also have with us tonight Coach
What's up,
Evans.
coach?
Good evening, Coach. Thank you for joining. Deshaun, 86. Good evening. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. My mom is here. My mom. Thank you, Mom, for being here. Thank you. I'm glad she's here
Hello.
with us tonight. I have a couple more and then we will go ahead and get started. We have a Ravens fan from Jersey. Good evening. Glad you're here. Thank you for joining. I think I got everyone. If I missed you, I am sorry, but we are going to get the show going. So, Hendo,
Yes, ma'am.
coming into this off season, what did you think our biggest needs were? For, if there's something that you felt that was really or sorely lacking as we started the off season, what would it be?
I mean, I think it's apparent that mostly everyone knows that we needed offensive linemen. Yes, we do have an abundance of younger offensive linemen, but we don't know what they're capable of. And for me, I get a lot of pushback because they say, "Hey, this guy could have been a third round pick, but he was injured. This guy started some games, looked good in spot duty." But for me, it's all about continuity. You can be as
Yeah.
good as you want to be, but if you have not played together or gelled together, that may be a problem, especially early in the season when the offense is trying to get going there in the second year of Todd Monken's system. And I understand that he's bringing in offensive linemen that fit his scheme a little bit better. But for me, that it was and still is the biggest concern.
Yeah, I can't argue there. I'm not going to spend too much time on it tonight, primarily because I have talked about it on this channel multiple times this off season. And that actually leads me into another question. And maybe your answer might differ from what you just said. What
Yeah.
is the position group that concerns you the most right now? Would it be O-line?
Yeah, I mean, of course, like we don't know what they're doing. And then, of course, right now we're not getting a very clear picture as to what's going on because all the Ravens reporters, the guys that cover the team, they're going to paint this picture. They're going to make everything flowers and rainbows and say, "Hey, this guy's looking really good out there." I mean, I'm darn near 40 years old and I could go out there and look good in t-shirt and shorts.
Wait, I'm sorry. You're almost how old?
I'm almost 40.
I'm glad Jasmine is here with us tonight, for several reasons, but she can
Yeah,
certainly.
Jasmine's almost 20.
We'll take it. We'll take it. Yeah, I'm with you. For me, it was a toss up with that one. The position group that worries me or concerns me would be certainly offensive line,
Mhm.
because right now we have three players on there without any starting experience in their respective roles.
Right.
And Falele, even though he's had some starts, he's never started at guard. That's concerning. And I'm actually going to transition right here so that I can bring up the depth chart
Okay.
so we can. Okay, the depth chart decided it didn't want to be here, so I'll find it over here. And let's see where the depth chart is. I
There we
think we
go.
have it. There we go. So with the depth chart, starting at, starting with the offense,
Hmm.
when we talk about the offensive line, I really thought the spot was going to be Ben Cleveland at right guard. I,
Right.
I did. But then as the offseason began, I'm hearing He's not looking so good. Does that concern you that we're now putting possibly Falele, who's never played at guard, in that role?
It doesn't concern me now. It's always been a concern. It's been a concern for a few years. It's been a concern since Ronnie Stanley's gotten hurt and they didn't bring in a suitable replacement. We still don't have a suitable replacement for Ronnie Stanley. So if he goes down, what are we going to do? Then on top of that, once again, you put somebody in spot duty towards the middle or the end of the season, people don't realize they're coming in fresh. You have all of these guys that have the wear and tear of a season on them, and you're putting a guy that just came in off the bench. Of course, he's going to look solid because he's rested. He's relatively healthy. So he looked good. They thought, oh, well, he looked good now. He may be able to start in the future. Now you take the supposed right tackle and you make him a right guard. And from the reports, they said he is at the top of the list. I don't know how you go from being a fringe starter to possibly not playing at all to being a starter at right guard. Like
Yeah,
that confuses me. So yes, it's a concern, but I will say this is the time that the team needs to experiment. Like this is the time you get your team together and you pick out your five best offensive linemen. Depth that may become an issue later on, but as of right now, it's all about experimentation and finding out which ones are the best ones to go with. Now, I will fault the team because all Ravens fans told me throughout all the offseason, they told everybody else, wait for June 1st cuts. When June 1st cuts come, EDC is going to show you what he's about. If I'm not mistaken, we're almost in August. We've signed a bunch of defensive players, but as far as the offensive linemen go, that depth in making sure that Lamar is protected, to me, just to me, it doesn't seem like it's a priority. And to me, that is horrible.
I saw your shirt there. I saw it. I was going
That
to
is
ask about it
that
toward.
is horrible.
I was going to ask about it toward the end of the show, but tell us a little bit about your T-shirt.
Oh, it just says that is horrible.
Oh,
Instead
okay.
of horrible, horrible. Because of some of the decisions that he made. And I know that they say he's a top five coach in the league, but just some of the repetitive natures of how the team is. And not even just the playoff losses, being that we go out the same way each and every season. It's just certain things that don't sit right with me.
Yeah,
So, I just use the word horrible.
understood. I would say, in response to you, a little bit in chat. If you are watching this right now live, let us know in the chat what your thoughts are. If you have some question marks or some worries going into the preseason, the remainder of the offseason, let us know. If you differ in terms of you don't think the offensive line is an issue or is a problem, and you think another position group is a problem, let us know. I'd love to talk about it. And same thing if you're watching this on replay. Thank you. Make sure you drop a comment down below and let us know what your position of, I'm going to say, worry. Let us know what that is. But to Hendo's point, I will say that when I look at the depth chart, we brought in, we signed Josh Jones, a
Hmm.
player who has played, he's a swing position, like we can plug and play him anywhere, except I think he's the only position on the O-line he has not played or started is center. And I think we're okay center. So I was happy for that because that gave me a little bit of security. We also have Pat McCary. And if Ronnie, and hopefully, Ronnie is a go all season and into the postseason as we make a run
Facts.
for the Super Bowl. But, you know, we have to be realistic that there might be a game, if he has to miss a game or if the coaches make a decision to, sit him for whatever the reason,
Hmm.
we do have Pat McCary. And
Hmm.
okay, share your thoughts on what you think about either Josh Jones, because remember, we still have Josh Jones.
Right.
So if needed, he can play that left tackle. What are your thoughts?
Josh Jones. Yes, he's played every offensive line position outside of center. Didn't play him well. Didn't play him well. He played on the Texans team that, he played on the Arizona team. Couldn't crack the lineup. He started last season versus the Ravens, got exposed, and it kind of went downhill from there. So I
Yeah.
don't have a lot of trust in him. As far as Pat McCarr goes, if you know me, I could give two about Pat McCarr. Jack of all trade, master of none. The most important position on the most favorite position on any football team is a backup quarterback. And for some reason with the Ravens, it's backup versatile offensive lineman.
Yeah.
He's everyone lauds him for his versatility. But when he gets in games, he struggles. Now he has certain spots where he plays well, but over a long period of time, we've seen him come in for Ronnie Stanley and struggle.
Yeah.
He's done well at some of the guard spots, but for me, I don't want to depend on him because for me personally, in my opinion, if he was all that all of these years he's been on the team, he would have been a starter. Don't use the well, he's a versatile backup. No, if you're good, you're going to start with any position. And they just use that as an excuse to keep him around. So for me, I would be worried if either one of those two had to come into a game.
Hmm. As a starter, you would be concerned. You would be worried.
I mean, I'm worried now. I'm worried now with the projections of what they have. So
Yeah.
now you're bringing in people behind the projections. It, we we have what OTR Mike likes to say is a Ferrari in the driveway. Why not protect your Ferrari? Why not give your
Yeah.
Ferrari the best coat of paint, the best coat of non-stick, the best coat of everything, instead of going to Dollar Tree saying, "Oh, this wax will do. It'll be fine. It's not going to chip the paint." You know what I'm saying? Like we make every excuse why we do not protect Lamar, and as we continue on with the offseason, we're still getting defensive players continuously, defensive
Yeah.
players, and to me, this is a huge concern because I've said this so many times that I'm about to stop saying it. When we lose in the playoffs, it's never the defense's fault. You can name the best quarterbacks in the
Yeah.
NFL. The defenses have stopped each and every one of them, shut them all down. They've shut down Josh Allen. They shut down CJ Stroud. They shut down Patrick Mahomes. Our issue every offseason has been scoring. But yet and still, we get excited when we bring in a fourth cornerback or a fifth safety. Like this is exciting news because we're now, instead of holding teams in the playoffs to 13 points a game, we're going to hold them to 11 and still score nine on average. So yeah,
Yeah.
I need them to surround Lamar, or I believe, in my opinion, that they should surround Lamar with the best talent. If it hasn't worked defensively, if we haven't won a title with defense, even going back to 2004, if defensively we haven't won a title, it's time to make a change and say, you know what, let's try a different approach to this. Let's surround Lamar with the best talent that we can find him and see if he can go win us a Super Bowl or at least get us to one. Because
Yeah.
he's gotten close with marginal talent.
He has, and I will agree with most of what you said. I agree. I think we have some glaring issues on offense, and that is the position group, especially the O line, that I'm watching closely. And when we hear the pressers, we understand, right, that the teammates, the coaches, are supposed to praise the players. Like I don't think I've heard a presser where they say, "Oh, he's just awful. He's really terrible. He needs to improve." I don't think that's the kind of commentary that we can expect to hear. But pads are on now. They're going to ramp it up the remainder of this offseason. We'll get an observation of who we are as a team, especially that O line. We'll get to see it in a few weeks when we enter preseason. And so, with that, I'm going to take a few comments. I see some people have joined. We have Just Toronado. Thank you for joining Ravens Talk with Yolanda. If everyone could give a warm welcome to her, I would appreciate that. Osmond says that the O line and the running back are issues. Running back. Tell us why you think running back, Osmond, is an issue. What if the king gets injured? I guess that's the reason why. Do you want to take that one first, Hendo, and then I'll give my thoughts?
As far as running back goes, Jose and Brady from Lunch Break Hot Take, they've said it. That Derrick Henry has hit the, what is it, the 1,800 carry mark. And most running backs, when they hit 1,800 carries, they start to decline.
Hmm.
Now, we couple that with no relative established backup because Justice Hill isn't a backup. And then you put him behind an offensive line that may not be ready early in the season. And it takes one hit. Like it takes that one missed block. And we've seen it with Lamar. That one missed block can take somebody down. So if something happens to Derrick Henry, we revert back to, well, Lamar, you got to run it and throw it. So those could be an issue.
And Understood. But I think that our running back room is, it's not the best.
Hmm.
Obviously we have Derrick Henry, so we're
Hmm.
going to put the proper recognition there.
Hmm.
My thought is, if we can get Derrick Henry, Justice Hill, to hold down the fort until we can get Keaton Mitchell back. And again, I understand Keaton Mitchell is coming off of a very serious injury.
100%.
And we need to temper expectations just because he gets a green light from the doctor to say he's ready to go, which I don't anticipate will be until maybe November at
Right.
the earliest. Could be, maybe late October. But he got injured
Amen.
weeks. It might be even later. He got injured.
Right.
What was that? Against the Jaguars in week 16, week
No.
17. It was
Who?
very, what'd you say?
You talking about Keaton Mitchell?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was earlier than that. He got
Maybe
injured
week
like
15. I remember it was against the Jags. So maybe it
he
was
played,
maybe week
played
15.
Jags like week 12, maybe. It was
Okay.
it was early, but the thing here's the thing. Like Coach said, he's not worried about the running back room. To which I will say, yes and no. I worry that once again everything's going to be put on Lamar's shoulders. But this organization has proven without a doubt we don't need star running backs to get it done. We can take guys off the scrap heap and still lead the league in rushing, just because of the presence of Lamar Jackson. It worries me for his long term usage, but it's not a concern. And listen, Justice Hill, he's proven spot duty. He can do things in spot duty for us. Yes, but you can't count on him. The thing with Keaton Mitchell, I don't count Keaton Mitchell in our running back room only because I know the history of the Baltimore Ravens. I
Yeah.
know names like Rashad Perryman, David Ajabo, Rashad Bateman, guys that were have thought to have come back at a certain period in time, but didn't come back until later. So we can't say if he's going to even be ready this season. We can hope and pray, but we don't know. With Ali, he came in injured. He had a pectoral muscle tear.
Yeah.
Don't know how that's going to affect him in the long run. But once again, I'm not worried about the run. I'm worried about what it may mean for Lamar Jackson going towards the future. But I'm not worried about the running game. Like this team is built to run, regardless who we put behind Lamar Jackson. But it would just help if we had an established runner that we can count on week in and week out, and then that would carry over into the playoffs because we get in the playoffs, we have an established runner. John Harbaugh and them don't have any excuse not to run him. Like you can't have Derrick Henry last season and run the ball 6 times. It would be no excuse for that. So I
No
think
way.
that's something that we need.
Yeah. Agreed. Joey says that they will bring someone in or wait for cuts. I think
Just like
that's right.
just like like we waited for June 1st cuts.
Well, I think I can agree with Joey. And the reason I can is because last season we waited for cuts and then cuts came and they went. But it wasn't until after training camp or late, because I think Jadavian Clowney was like, I don't want to do a training camp. But I remember him not wanting to sign earlier on in the offseason. We waited until very late. It could have been right at the end of training camp or shortly after it ended, right before the preseason. We signed him.
But he had already been cut before then. That's the difference. Therein lies the difference. He was cut before then.
And we got someone off the couch. Kyle
Kyle Van
Van
Noy.
Noy. We got someone on. So I'm for that, for those two. Now, if either one of them came into our organization at the
Hmm.
time they did, under the circumstances in which they did, and did not produce for us, then I would agree. Like, okay, we're getting like, I don't want to say bottom of the barrel, but everyone, not everyone. There was a lot of chatter around the
Hmm.
time we signed it. Oh, look at their ages. They're old, they're washed, they don't have much left in the tank. And sure enough, those two were leading it for us last season.
Can I tell
So
you the
for
difference
that,
though? I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
Can I tell you the difference though?
Sure.
You're talking two defenders, see ball, get ball,
Right.
surrounded with talent.
Yeah.
Take the pressure off me, so now I can go make plays.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have a bad offensive line. Not saying that it can't. I'm not saying it can't happen, but now
Mm-hmm.
we're talking about the offensive side of the ball where there is less talent over there. So now you have to be talented to make up for the discretions of other people. So there's a difference when you're talking certain sides of the ball. I'm not
Yeah.
saying it can't happen, but to me, that's not a model of consistency, waiting for other teams to cut a player.
Yeah. It might not be a model of consistency, but certainly there has been a level of demonstration to where there's some success. Now, do you get lucky every time you utilize or employ that strategy or tactic? Probably not. Would it be safer to sign someone earlier in the offseason, right after players are eligible to sign in free agency? Would that be the safer bet? Probably. Would another safe bet be to trade up in the draft to acquire or to be able to draft a player who you've kept your eye on, who you think could really come in and be a day one starter? Yeah, those would be really good strategies, I think. Those would be really good. But that's not what we did. And so because it's not what we did, we have who we have. And I want to bring up Tanja's comment. When I asked earlier, Tanja said, because I asked the question, what's your position group of concern? Backup quarterback is a big need. Let's go back to that screen share. Let me share my
She ain't
screen.
lie. She
She's
ain't lie.
she's spot on with it. That's why I said let's go back here. Okay, so for our depth, we have right behind Lamar, Josh Johnson. Behind
Mhm.
him, Devin Leary. We've heard, or from the people who have actually gone to training camp and have reported on social media, Josh Johnson has been looking really bad. Really bad. When Lamar came back, and I understand Lamar is QB1, and the expectation is that he's going to instantaneously lift or boost your your offense. I mean, even the defense, they're happy to have him back. That's true. But Josh Johnson, if ever we need you, you need to be ready. And I know it's still very early. So I know people will tell me in the comments, oh, it's still early. We have a while. We have a ways to go. But I agree. What are your thoughts that Josh Johnson is just not looking like it?
What did we expect? Now, me personally, I may have expected a little bit more out of him, only because he was there at the mini camps. Lamar wasn't. So you got all the reps. Lamar has only been in for a practice in an hour in training camp. You're getting most of the reps. So you should look better. But this is the time to knock that rust off. This is the time to, like I keep saying, continuity. Biggest key for me, continuity. And just him getting acclimated to his teammates, second year in the system. He wasn't the starter last year. So he's being thrust in a role where now he's going against the best defense in the league.
He is.
I mean, yeah, but then you're going in shorts and t-shirts, so you should look a little better. But it's early, and hopefully we don't need him. Hopefully it's we don't need him. Now I will say this is an issue. This is one of the positions I do think if something were to really happen, they would go out and trade for somebody.
Hmm.
I think that they would. I think that their thought process now is Lamar Jackson is going to be there. And if
Yeah.
he's not, we'll deal with it later. I saw some people in the comments talking about wait till Snoop gets cut. For what? For what? He can't throw past 20 yards. For what?
But I'll take it. Honestly, my opinion, let's go back to that. Lady Laura Baltimore, just wait until they drop Snoop. I will take Snoop back. He is one I would take back.
Why?
Because, like you mentioned, a 20-yard, those short intermediate passes, he can do that. And if that's what it takes, plus now with the addition of Derrick Henry, okay, last season we didn't have that. With Snoop's ability to make those accurate throws, short, intermediate, and he's able to
I didn't say accurate.
capitalize on.
I didn't say accurate. I just said short.
I'm going to add accurate.
I
I'll
said
have to
short.
look up. I'll have to look up his to see exactly how accurate he was last year in
But he
terms of.
but he has to get cut though.
Right. And that's what she said to her point. But my point was, I agree with her. And you were like, for what? And I'm like, that's the reason why. I would, if I had my pick, Snoop, again, if he gets cut, Snoop, Josh, I'm taking Snoop. That's
I
my
see
personal
Ryan.
opinion.
I see Ryan Tannehill out there. Love him or hate him, he's a winner.
I have that on my notes to discuss tonight. Ryan Tannehill, he is out there. Wouldn't, and I read somewhere that would be kind of awkward
Why?
because Derrick Henry. But I mean,
What
listen, you said you have to set those
you
whatever.
no, you had to explain it to me. What do you mean?
I didn't say it. I said I read somewhere that someone said that would be kind of awkward. Former teammates playing on the same team now, and you know
Okay, Steve
he's not.
McNair, Steve McNair and Derek Mason came over. Samari Rolle
Mhm.
came over from the Titans to the Ravens.
Yeah, I didn't
Pretty
say it couldn't be
successful.
done.
No, I'm just saying, pretty successful. It didn't cause an issue, and
Yeah,
we're not looking for Ryan Tannehill to be the starter and be our future QB. Like this is a fill-in just in case,
yeah.
and
I
the man needs a job.
Sorry. Yeah, he needs a job. You're exactly right. But just for the reasons that you mentioned, we're not looking for him to come in and be a starter. We just need you here as a backup, as an insurance policy. Would that be okay with him? I mean, he like you said, he needs a job. So,
He knows
well,
he's not starting anywhere. He knows that.
yeah,
I don't think he's that delusional to be like, yeah, I'm gonna come in here during the middle of training camp and start for somebody's team, unless there's an injury,
I was just
unless
about.
there's a serious injury.
There's
But I
always
still think
that.
that, but I still think that there are other options that people may go to. Who knows? I don't know. Cleveland has 50 quarterbacks, so
They do. They do. Good evening, Nana.
yeah,
Thank you for joining. Thank you. Coach says that running back is not a worry for me. Yeah, I'm less concerned about running back, but I will say, as I mentioned earlier, I agree with Hendo, O-line. But second to that, for me, would be edge. It would be edge. So
excuse me. Wait a minute. Excuse me. Did we not have a 99 on the edge?
oh, we do. We most certainly
Oh,
have 99. But
so I'm
and he
sorry.
we have
You are
99
correct.
problems and 99 is not one of them.
So you are correct. We do have a problem with edge.
No, we don't. I have said it before, and I want you to bookmark this stream. I don't even know if that's a thing. Did I just make something up? Bookmarking a stream, whatever.
They can clip it out and remix
That's
it and make
fine. Do that. What can they do, Hendo?
they can clip it. They can clip the segment out for whatever you're about to say. It's not going to mean anything because we have segments before and recordings where you stated if OA didn't do this or that, you were going to do something. And then when it came time for it, you're like, I don't care what proof you have. No.
Coach said, "Don't forget Ali."
But
I'm gonna get. I'm gonna come right back to Edge in a minute. Don't forget Ali. Yeah, he's there. He's there. Tanja said she's like, I like Justice Hill. That's right. Yeah, Justice Hill.
I thought, man,
Yeah, that's right, Killer Cam. It was the Jaguars game that
I didn't say
Keaton got injured.
I'm an old man. I don't remember.
It was pretty late in the season. I just didn't remember what number it was, but I remember it was the Jaguars.
That makes it worse.
It was
That makes the timetable even worse.
right. That's what I was saying. It was very late in the season. I think we played the Jags either week 15, like 16 or 17,
15,
something like that.
15, maybe.
There you go. And it was very late in the season and he got injured. So that's why I was saying earlier, it was against the Jags and the timetable of return for him, I would guess, would be October, late October at the earliest, but realistically, maybe November. But yeah, running back, I'm not too concerned. Let me go ahead and say what I was going to say, and anyone who wants to clip it, go ahead. I believe Odafe. Oh, you see this? You invite guests on the show, and this is what they do. This is how they treat you.
Paul's not even on.
I know. I'm giving you a hard time. But I believe Odafe Owe is going to be what we have thought, hoped, wished, wanted him to be this year for some reason. Now, don't ask me why, because the answer to that is I just believe it. I'm telling you, trust me when I say we will come back and maybe mid-season, or if you want to do a temperature check before then, I will come back on this show and I will say we are 5 games into the season, 7 games into the season, and let's take a temperature check for Odafe. How many sack total? You know, what's his sack total? And when I say Odafe Owe is going to be there, I'm looking for Odafe Owe to not just apply pressure, because he did great in last year doing just that. I want to see him put those quarterbacks on the ground. Do you agree that he's going to do it, Hendo?
He did look a lot better. I'm not going to hold you. He looked a lot better last year.
Yeah.
I can't say what Whiffs is going to do. I don't know. He may whiff again. But let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever watched a series called Game of Zones?
I don't really watch television other than
Okay, I mean
sports and
it's on you. It's a YouTube Bleacher Report. So what it is they do a Game of Thrones themed basketball show about the NBA. And I was sitting here trying to think when you were saying, you can bookmark it, that Adafe always is going to come out here and do stuff. There was this segment where LeBron James had just went to the finals. He was in the Eastern Conference Finals, and Isaiah Thomas with the Celtics went up to the table and was like, "This is your last year. It's over." And LeBron was like, "Where have I heard that before?" And then they kept replaying the clips each year before. Everybody would come up like, "This is your last year. The East is mine." And that's how you sound, because you said this last year, and you said that the year before. We can bookmark it, put it down. You're repeating yourself. But I will say, going into his fourth year, he's going to do a lot better than he has. He's going to have more than six sacks, because next year he's going into his fifth year option and then free
Mhm.
agency. So he's building up that resume to do like most Ravens do. When it comes time for contract time, he's going to ball out.
Yeah.
But it's also going to be dependent upon what happens on the other side with his homeboy.
I will agree to that. I will certainly agree to that, Hendo. We need to see Ojabo, number one, healthy.
Injured Bo. His
He's
name is
not injured.
Injured Bo.
We're
You
no
sure?
longer,
You sure?
I'm sure, I'm sure we are going to, from this moment forward, until we see otherwise, moving forward until we see
Out of
otherwise.
Florida.
That's
I'm
my
sorry.
mom. Her hometown is
Yes.
Jacksonville, Florida.
Jacksonville. That's
And
how I
she,
said it.
yes, my mom is from
Yes, ma'am.
Jacksonville, Florida. So I'll keep an eye on the Jacksonville Jags. But
For what?
because that's my mom's hometown, that's why I'm
I'm sorry. I'm
being
sorry, man.
respectful
I'm
for
sorry,
my.
man. But listen, I do think listen, and I do think that your mother appreciates honesty, not
She,
pandering, and we can keep it real. Quarterback just got paid a bunch of money for nothing.
we have that on the list too. Uh,
Okay,
we have all of that on the list
you talking about for the night?
for tonight. Yeah,
Because this
yeah.
was only supposed to be 15 minutes.
My live streams are never 15 minutes. I'm
You
15
told me.
minutes in.
You,
15.
I told you I don't live stream anymore. I quit. Cold turkey.
Ladies, gentlemen in the chat, please let Hendo know that
Please
we
do
are
what?
wanting him to come back and
Nobody want to see me.
resume live streaming because he is such an amazing.
Duval. Duval. Listen. I'm just a dude that talks.
Yeah,
I just like to talk.
I I
Not as much, not as much as Yolanda, but I do like to talk, especially sports. Like it's good. It's good having debates, especially when they're respectful debates.
yeah,
You get to see how other people think, but
yeah.
I'll let you have it. You got it. I ain't gonna-
But there's space enough here for everybody's opinion because Hendo, you and I don't always agree, and that's okay.
100%.
That's
Some of
fine.
us are. Some of us use facts and logic. Some of us don't.
Ah, see, now he's not being nice. We
I'm
have
not.
with
Oh
us,
no, no, I wasn't talking about you.
we have Equip Institute. Good evening,
Hello.
Florence. Thank you so much for being here. Yes. And Tanja is saying it was the Jags game. That's right. It was the Jags that he got injured. So I'm telling you, but going back to Edge, that would be from this moment forward, Ojabo is no longer in Gerbo because from all the reports that we can hear, he's out there on the practice field practicing and he's healthy. Unless and until we hear otherwise. Oh, Ojabo missed a game or missed a practice. Ojabo, I saw him sitting on the sideline. Ojabo wasn't even in attendance today. Unless and until we hear that,
And didn't I hear this last year?
is it okay that we don't call him in Gerbo?
But
Just think
listen,
about it.
listen. Okay, I'll make a deal with you. All right.
Okay.
If he can play 3 games consecutively, I'll stop calling him injured, Bo.
Wow, that's a very low threshold.
I,
Three
I don't.
games.
I don't even care if he plays 5 snaps apiece. Just play five. Just play 3 straight games.
Chat, let us know. Those watching on replay, how confident are you?
Tanja, yes, I am.
How confident are you that David Ajabo will be able to not only just, as Hendo said, play 3 games straight consecutive, that he'll be able to stay healthy long enough for us to see him really make a difference? Let us know.
He, I believe so.
Yeah.
Listen, when we drafted him, I told y'all the timeline. I said year one, he's going to come in late in the year, not expecting much from him. The second year, they're going to rush him back. He's going to get injured again. Third year, he's going to be decent. And the fourth year, he's going to ball out and
Yeah.
price himself out of Baltimore. I told y'all this when we drafted him. And so far, once again, my timeline is coming to fruition. So I think he'll get like 5 or 6 sacks, maybe playing 13, 14 games.
I have higher hopes for him. What he's
Baby
what he's
steps.
going baby steps, what he can do, how he can contribute. I have higher hopes. What the ceiling is for him, I don't know. But I think it's more than what you just gave him. I'm gonna rest on that.
More than 6 sacks?
If
Oh,
he
Oway doesn't have more than 6 sacks in a season. So you're saying that Ojabo is better than Oway?
No, I'm saying Odafe Owe is going to have more than 6 sacks this
No, no,
season.
no, 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 no. But Oway has played 3 seasons already.
Right.
Doesn't have 6 sacks. Ojabo's going into his third season. So you're telling me he's better than Oway?
No. I mean,
No.
that remains to be seen. We need to see him out there, like you said, no, consistently. I
But you said
can't
more than
answer.
6 sacks.
I think I'm hoping he can get more than 6 sacks.
Okay.
I'm
Hoping,
hoping that
but saying I think he's going to get more than 6 is different than saying I'm hoping. So
that's
you're
the same
saying he's
thing.
better.
It's in
It's
my
fine.
it's in
It's
the
we're gonna bookmark this. You said he's better than Oway. Cool. I'm a bookmark it and remix it.
I didn't say he was better. I said I don't know that until I see him play more games consistently. Then I can
Yolanda,
make a proper assessment. I don't have enough evidence. Insufficient
good talk.
evidence.
Good,
Objection.
Yolanda, good
Insufficient
talk.
evidence.
Good talk. Good talk. I'm clipping it.
Okay. Daniel Franklin, thank you so much for joining. He
Up, Daniel.
said, we need another quarterback. Yeah, we do. That is something to consider, something to really think about. And Hendo was mentioning a few minutes ago, quarterbacks who got paid this offseason.
Mm,
Jordan Love,
mm,
Tua Tagovailoa,
mm,
Trevor Lawrence, Jared Goff. And I might have missed one or two, but I've given you several. And my question to you, Hendo, and everyone else in the chat,
yes,
is
ma'am.
there more pressure now on Lamar
More pressure for what?
for him to perform? Now
I
we
don't
are
think
paying.
it,
Oh, no, go ahead. Now that we've seen, or now that we have seen how the league is financing the quarterbacks, how they're paying them, is
okay.
there more pressure on Lamar because Lamar is right up there with them? He's just short. I think I hate to say it, like he's only a couple million underneath, but still, like a
He's
million
number seven.
dollars is
He's number
still,
seven. He's number seven
he's
right
number
now.
7. Right. He's top 10. He's number 7. Is there pressure now because Lamar has been in the league and has not won a Super Bowl?
Oh, so that's the question.
Yeah.
So my answer to your question is yes and no. Yes, the pressure is on Lamar because he's Lamar Jackson. It has nothing to do with any other quarterback in the league because he is measured and defined by statistical measures that have nothing to do with anyone else. No, because why am I worried about these other quarterbacks? You talked about Jared Goff. Jared Goff, I got to give Jared Goff props. He went to a Super Bowl. They didn't do anything. He went to Detroit, resurrected his career. Him and Amon-Ra St. Brown, beautiful connection. He took Detroit to heights that they haven't seen since the early 90s. Props. Give it to him. Now we move on to Tua Tagovailoa. One playoff appearance. He was hurt the year before, so Skylar
Hmm.
Thompson, he played one playoff game. I
Yeah.
said in the video today, they had a 3-game lead with 5 games to go last season. He blew that. So therefore, they had to travel to Kansas City in frigid weather, and he looked gosh awful. Gosh awful. But they
Yeah.
paid him in, not to mention all of the talent that they surrounded him with. An offensive minded coach. They gave him 2 number 1 receivers. They gave him 2 running backs that could be on an Olympic track team right now. So,
Yeah.
yeah, what has he done? Nothing. Then we move over to Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence, yes, he had the great comeback against Justin Herbert in the playoffs. But guess what? His 4 interceptions caused them to go down by 27 points. So don't tell me about what you did after you put us in a deficit. But outside of that, once again, at one point in the season, the Jaguars last season, I think after 11 games, were number one in the AFC. Did they make the playoffs? So don't talk to me about what has and what has not been done during the playoffs when it comes to Lamar Jackson and his accomplishments. Regardless of what you say about any of those quarterbacks, none of them have MVPs. Then we move on to Jordan Love, who is now the highest, tied for the highest average salary in the NFL at $220 million. $75 million guaranteed, the most at signing ever in history. This man started 1 year. He started 1 year in the NFL and came out and got a contract where Lamar had to fight for a summer to get paid. So my thing is, with these guys doing virtually nothing, and yes, Jordan Love did win a playoff game in his first go round, but he is also the reason the game ended versus the 49ers because he threw the game clinching interception. So don't talk about what Lamar hasn't done in the playoffs because these quarterbacks have not done anything as well. But none of these quarterbacks have an MVP, let alone two. So that way, Lamar doesn't have to look at them and say, oh, they got paid. It's more pressure on me because I don't care if Lamar was the 30th paid quarterback in the league. He is going to get scrutinized like nobody's business just because he is dynamic and the NFL does not want the league to turn into a scrambling quarterback league. They want to push the pocket pass for as long as they can to include certain people in this discussion. So, yeah, it's really no pressure on him to win. Now, is he putting pressure on himself? I think that is the bigger question. Is he putting everything on his shoulders like, yo, I got to lead this team to the playoffs? The one thing I will say about Lamar, and in the comment, don't kill me, he has to play better in the playoffs. And I know it's a team game and they have to coach better in certain things, but he has to play better in the playoffs, especially if he wants to get the detractors off of his back. Because each and every season, the Ravens have scored the lowest amount of points that they've scored during that season in that playoff game that they lost.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I don't think that the pressure is on Lamar per se, any more so than it is naturally. The pressure has always been on Lamar because he was the one who was told, you might as well go and play running back or wide receiver. You're not fit to be a quarterback in this league. So with that being spoken over him, and let me take 2.5, whoever this is for, receive it. When people speak negative over your life, you have an option to allow it to enter into you and you start believing what you have heard someone say about you, or you can reject it and do your thing to the best of your ability and prove them wrong. Whoever that's for, it's for you. But don't allow someone to tell you who you are, what you can and cannot do, what the ceiling is, what the sky is for you. You go out there, you be the best that you can be, and the sky's the limit. So
That's
same
right.
thing.
And no battle. G.I. Joe. Dun, 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 dun.
Thank you. That's right, Hendo. But for Lamar, I don't think the signings of these quarterbacks this offseason applies any more pressure on him than he has always had. I don't think so.
Right.
Taking a few more comments. We just wasted a draft pick on Devin Leary. Better be second string.
What do you mean we wasted the draft pick? EDC doesn't waste draft picks. He's had
Nah.
5,269 draft picks since 2019. He hasn't wasted one of them.
Yeah. Tannehill is not strong enough to play in the North. He gets to seeing ghosts. Well, that may be true, but Tannehill would have to figure it out. I don't think a lot of these quarterbacks would be strong enough to play. If you took quarterbacks from other divisions, enough, the NFC, and put them in the AFC North, I think a lot of them would stumble. They
We're
would
about to find
falter.
out. We're about to find out.
We're about to find out. Pittsburgh, we really are going to see, what does it look like when you come over to the AFC North? And unless you have an amazing offensive line, and I know Pittsburgh, That's what they addressed this offseason. They went in knowing that their O-line was their Achilles heel. They addressed it. So
They've been addressing it for 3 seasons, and their
they have.
offensive line is strong now.
What'd you say, Hendo? Their offensive line
It's strong. Is actually strong. A strong point of their team now because
it is.
They've been building it for years
They
because
have.
they knew that it was problematic. So they addressed it like you're supposed to.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're gonna see. We're gonna see. Sea Iron Addict says Tay Rob gonna be really good as well. If that's true, oh, go ahead, Hendo, while I pull up the screen share.
Oh no. Oh yeah. Listen, Coach and I were extremely hard on this young man when he first came in. We were like, I don't see it. But in the snaps that he was given, he actually played pretty well.
Yeah,
So I just want to see what his growth is going to be like year two, and give him more time, give him more responsibility. So he might be one of them dudes.
he might be. I'm gonna watch out for him. Yeah. So, oh, this is a good comment. We know this one is true. Justice Hill fumbles at pivotal moments too often for me. Ravens 19. We got to clean that up. We have to.
Not just the fumbles. His pass blocking is. I have grandkids that pass block better than he does.
Stop it.
Listen, my granddaughter's fearless. She doesn't close her eyes when somebody's coming at her. Justice Hill closes his eyes and puts his arms up. It doesn't touch anybody. Can't handle it.
I'm late on the comments, I know, but I'm just trying to go through them. Yes, my mom is representing Duval, and
I'm so sorry.
wanted.
I'm so sorry.
She doesn't really watch football that much,
I
all
know.
that
I know.
much,
Still sorry.
but that's her home. That is where she's from. So she's proud to be from there. I
Sorry you had to
like
go
this.
through the Justin Blackmans, the Matt Jones. I'm sorry you had to go through that.
Well, growing up in Orlando, that's what we had on television. That the Dolphins, Tampa Bay, that's what we watched. Whatever team was
Y'all
playing
had-
on the weekend. I
so
like this
don't,
comment.
y'all just had sad football. So
We
I'm
did.
sorry.
We did. That's why my brother was a Cowboys fan. But anyway,
That's even
Emmett Smith, I mean, that's what he liked. But let's talk about this comment. I like this one.
I
Hendo is not,
mean, what happened to 15 minutes?
we're nearing the finish line. We're nearing the finish line. We are. We are. Ton just said, Yolanda, I heard more noise about Tavius Robinson and OTAs than Ojabo and Owe. I know. I know.
I'm gonna just sip my tea.
But now that the pads are on,
Whole nother animal.
I'm with
It's
you,
gonna be a whole
Joey.
nother animal.
No, I'm with you, Joey. Ojabo, definitely. But we have to see. We have to see.
Oh, he's gonna ball next year.
Yeah, I think so too.
No, not this year. Next year. He's gonna be decent this year. Next year he's gonna ball out and price himself out of Baltimore and either go to the Jets or the Chargers.
Yeah. Yeah. Hello, Sean Coles. Yep, we're live. We
Yeah.
are live. That's it. We are.
So I have a question for you, Yolanda.
Sure.
All right, Sundays, 7 p.m. The football season is about to begin shortly. It's coming faster than we know it. Is this going to be your normal stream time on Sundays
I
going
don't know.
forward?
I don't know because you stream at 7, so I don't
Mm-mm,
want to
mm-mm, mm-mm,
interfere with that. But
mm-mm,
that's something we can
mm-mm.
certainly talk about offline so we can finish getting through the live stream.
I could reach the retirement papers that I filled out. I would show them to you.
The retirement papers, they've been rejected, not approved. No, 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 no. They've been returned to sender. We have with us tonight Engraven Vids. Thank you for joining. He
Going on.
said, no, no.
Yeah,
Lam-
yeah, yeah. You're right.
Lamar, what did you say?
Oh no, he's right. I'm just saying he's right. It's been years.
Yeah,
But Jordan Love, it took him one summer,
one summer.
and not even a full summer.
Not even a full summer. And Tua Tagovailoa, he held his own. He said, I'm going to sit right here in this cool of the shade. And it worked out for him. It certainly did. But last question for tonight. What I want to know is which team last year or this year do you think is better? Looking at the roster, what we had last year and what we have this year, which one do you think is better?
Last year. Last year has to be better because we knew what they were capable of last year. This team, this iteration is unknown. We can only speculate as to what they can be. So last year has to be better. They've gone further than they've gone in over 10 years. So it has to be last season.
Yeah. Um, I, when I think about that question, I go back and forth
Hmm.
because with the addition of Derrick Henry, I really think that that puts us in a different tier. We
Okay.
still, we still must have not just an operable O line. We
Hmm.
still must have a very strong one. And we've already talked about our field. We've already shared our thoughts on where we are as an O line.
Right.
But with the addition of Derrick Henry, I
Hmm.
I'm giving us just a little bit more. Now I don't know that I can say last year was much better than we are right now. I
Okay.
think we're really close. I do. And
Okay.
if we can just maybe, the off season for the Ravens historically, as we discussed earlier, still
Hmm.
time on the clock. There's still time to add pieces to our
Hmm.
roster.
Right.
Most likely will be defensive pieces. Let's be clear. But I think this year is going to be something special. I
I
do.
hope. I hope and pray. But but you said, this year's CU is going to be is the better team. We added a Derrick Henry. We did. We added an older Derrick Henry, but also we lost our backup quarterback. We lost our backup running back. Even though he's injured, he'll come back sometime in the season. But as of right now, he is not a participant. We lost our second leading wide receiver. We've lost three offensive linemen. We've lost our leading sacker. We've lost our second best linebacker, but we
Yeah,
added Derrick Henry. And we oh no, and we lost our defensive coordinator.
we did. So you know what
But
that tells me, Hendo?
we added Derrick Henry.
But you know what that tells me, Hendo? It tells me that the time is now for all of those who've been waiting in the wing or who've not maximized the moment. It tells me that the time is now.
So my question to you is going back to your point previously, when we got the guys up off the couch after training camp, wasn't it their time during training camp to prove that it was time to maximize their skills at that
Right.
point in time when we didn't have them? So
But
now a year later, we're giving them another chance to maximize. So then if it doesn't happen this year, we're going to give them another chance next year to maximize.
um maybe what I think is we are in a position to really take charge of the direction that we want our team to go. We've made some additions.
Hmm.
Like you said,
A
Hendo,
lot of oh,
we've
I'm sorry.
lost. No, you're
Lost.
right. You're right. You're preaching for me. We have some
Oh,
subtractions.
nickel cornerback,
Yeah. Yeah.
starting safety.
Yeah. That's it. So I think that, we have Chocolate Lady Cap with us, MDT Sports. I'm trying to keep up with everyone. Thank you all so much for coming out. If I missed you, it's not intentional. Sean,
Yes,
it's about
Daniel.
to be game time. Let's go.
I'm sorry. Yes, Daniel. We lost positional coaches as well.
We did. I,
Anthony Weaver, Don Walker. We've lost a lot more than we've gained. And once again, what we're speculating is potential.
yeah,
I can give you facts. I can give you facts that we had the number one defense in the league, number one scoring defense in the league, number
we
one
did.
in turnover differential, top five in scoring offense, I believe. So I can give you facts on that. What
Right.
fact can you give me for the 2024 Baltimore Ravens?
I didn't say I can, this is
No,
rooted in fact.
I'm just
Yeah.
asking a question.
But I'm just saying, I
We're,
never
we're,
said,
we're hoping. Even
yeah,
even though last season was a bet may have in terms been a better team because even to me, if you go back in the day, in my opinion, 2011 Baltimore Ravens were better than the 2012 Baltimore Ravens. But the 2011 Baltimore Ravens didn't win a title.
right.
2012 did.
2012 did. So with that, keep that in mind because that is perspective. If you think that this current Baltimore Ravens roster is not as good, And like Brandon said, we lost coaches. So if you think our overall unit as a team, coaches included, not as good as we were last year, keep that in mind. Because 2012, and that's what I've heard, 2011 had the better roster, had the better, they were the team,
Oh,
right? But they didn't win. They didn't win a Super Bowl. It wasn't until 2012 with a arguably roster that was just not as on paper as good as 2011, but somehow they did it. So that's kind of that's kind of my thought.
they unleashed the Flacco. That's what happened.
Yeah.
They got Jim Caldwell in there calling plays and unleashed the Flacco, and that's what happened. That's why we won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Now,
Sean
now we
Cole,
need to unleash. Now we need to unleash Lamar Jackson
we
and get him an
do.
Anquan Bolden type. Get him a dominant receiver. Put it opposite of Zay Flowers. Because once again, as bad as Odell Beckham was last season, he still was our second leading receiver. As much as he didn't play in the third and fourth quarters, he was our second leading receiver.
Yeah.
That's why I don't have a lot of confidence in Nelson Aguilar. You had opportunities last year. So don't say, oh, well, Odell Beckham's gone now. He's got more of an opportunity. You had opportunity last season and didn't do a whole lot. He did some. He didn't do a whole lot. So that's why I say last season was, to me, more talented. Hopefully, this team goes further because 2011, 2012 lost in the AFC Championship game. 2012 came back and won it in New Orleans, where the Super Bowl is once again. So maybe we are reliving the past, and hopefully it comes to fruition, and we could be Super Bowl champs, and we can tell everybody, where the sun
Yeah.
don't shine.
Yeah. Sean Cole says the couches don't matter so much. We have a system. Yeah. The coaches, sorry. The coaches don't matter. We have a system. All right. And he also said that we're tired of waiting.
Facts, because listen, Todd Monken's not running Todd Monken's offense. Todd Monken is running a version of his mixed with the Baltimore Ravens offense.
Yeah.
So coaches come and coaches go, and they really don't matter. And I think that back then was the reason, once again, we won the Super Bowl because Jim Caldwell was able to call his game. 2015 with Gary Kubiak, he called his game,
Yeah.
and we were a lot better for it. So, to me, it's just exciting the possibilities of what this season can bring. Every year you get excited, like this could be the year, this could be the year. Hopefully, we can stop believing it and actually see it. It's going to be tough though.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough because Kansas City had a down year last year, and now they got two burners.
Ooh, they do. It's
So
going to be tough.
we went out and got us a burner.
Ooh, it's going to be tough. It's going to be
It's going to be a
tough.
good game. It's going to be a good game week one.
It's going to be a good game week one.
Are you live streaming? Are you live streaming that game?
I might. I
You
might.
should. You should.
Yes, we might. Thank you all so much for hanging with us, joining us. Oops,
One
it
question.
was a
I'm
little
sorry.
bit of delay.
One more question. One
Sure.
question. If you could indulge me very quickly, okay, before we leave, and I know some of the people want to see this. Pronounce for me the name of this mall. Pronounce the name of that mall for me.
No, because I get teased.
What is the name of the mall?
Mondawaman. I get teased.
What?
Don't worry, I'm not saying it
No, say
twice.
it again. I didn't hear you. What is the
Well, I
name of
mean,
it?
now that I see it, it looks different. But before, I thought it was
Different.
Mond.
It looks the same that it's the way it's always been.
I'm from Florida, so
I
I'm
don't care where
learning.
you're from. Reading is universal.
The little star in the center is not. I didn't learn that as a letter in the alphabet.
Okay,
I'm just
I
saying.
get that. I get that. But even with that being said, you pronounce that part right.
Yeah,
Mon.
Mon
What's the rest of it?
da men.
Oh, now
Yeah.
you want to say Mondawmin. Mondawamin.
Mondawaman.
I don't know
Yes,
what you got
that's it.
that.
I gotta hold on. I gotta put the comment back up. That's right. Mondawaman. Yeah,
Don't
that's
encourage her,
good.
please.
That's good. Hey, if I can offer you a laugh, enjoy yourself. Knock yourself out. But
What's up, Nisha?
thank you, Hendo, so much for joining the show and enlightening the conversation. It's been a pleasure. Please let
Yeah.
everyone know where they can find you and what you have going on.
You can find me on the Road Pod, where I drop videos now whenever I feel like it. Really, like it's not the way that it used to be. The drive is not there anymore. I still love doing what I'm doing, but I just don't. I don't have the drive because people like yourself People like Lunch Break Hot Take, people like Coach. We have a bunch of guys, even engraving to a degree, where they don't get the recognition that they should get, and it weighs on me some. You know what I'm saying? Because I look at other fan bases out there and I see how they support their YouTubers, and unfortunately, a lot of the Baltimore Ravens YouTubers don't get that same type of support. You know what I'm saying? Like Coach should have been at 10,000. And I'm not blaming any of y'all in the comments, but I'm blaming y'all in the comments that haven't subscribed yet. Coach should have been at 10,000 by now. You know what I mean? Yolanda should have been at 1,000. She's constantly bringing you content all the time, all the time. And this is not easy. I put out a video today. What time did I tell you I went to bed this morning, Yolanda?
6 a.m.
6 a.m. And I was back up at 9 o'clock. Sometimes it takes like 5, 6 hours to do a video and edit it. And then to come back and people just be like, "Mm." You know what I mean? So my thing is, I just want you guys to support everybody. You know what I mean? Jared knows, like, it takes a lot to put this together. And that's why I stopped live streaming. Because just personally to me, I just felt like not a lot of you